and good afternoon. I am honored to introduce Dr. Fatema Jawad, who did his MBBS graduation from Dow Medical College, Karachi. She is also MCPS and FRCP from the Edinburgh. Dr. Fatema Jawad is basically a dietitian, and he did his her training in medicine in Karachi and in Germany. She received FRCP from the Edinburgh in 2002. She is heading the diabetology department of SIUT Karachi and has credit of the initiating and live related renal transplant in patients with diabetes and end-stage renal failure with urology team at SIUT. Dr. Jawad is also editor-in-chief of most of prestigious First PubMed Index Journal of Pakistan, JPMA. She has raised the standard of journal, which includes peer-reviewed articles on all biomedical subjects. She has trained many juniors, professionals, and medical students in the field of research and publication. I am also her student. She is a founder member of the PAMI, Pakistan Association of Medical Editors, and was president for the term of 2004 to 2016. She is a member of World Association of Medical Editors, WAMI, since 1996 and was elected as the director of WAMI for the term of the 2015 to 17. She has more than 116 prestigious publications, national and international, and she has many chapters. She has been member of Committee on the Publication Ethics UK COPE since 2010 and was elected member of International Advisory Group IAG from the term of the 2013 to 2015. Dr. Jawad has a keen interest in the publication ethics, and rules of these are strictly followed and implemented in the JPMA. Many retractions have been done and notes of the concern placed on the articles and graduates and grounds of the ethics. She strongly believes that the honesty never lets one down, saves you, and even in your fear in it. I hope, inshallah, my dear, all the colleagues, students, you will, scholars, you will really enjoy the lectures of the Professor Fatema Jawad. And I 100% hope that the end of this lecture and one more lecture of Professor Dr. Fatema Jawad, I 100% bet that you will be able to write the article and submit the article. I have honor that I have learned so many things from on publication from the Dr. Fatema Jawad. Dr. Fatema Jawad, now it is over to you. Thank you so much, madam.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Mulazim Bukhari, for the very kind introduction. It's really my passion of ethics, especially ethics in research and ethics in writing research. And we have a lot of problems here in our office, in the journal office, because there are many authors who either do not know ethics, they do not have the knowledge, or they probably don't believe in it. Anyway, let's see what we can do today. And I hope that all the participants, they will also enjoy the lecture, the talk. They will also learn something and they will implement it in their daily lives. So we begin with the name of God, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And ethics of publication is the topic today. Now, what are the objectives of this session? Briefly, I'll tell you. We want to understand what is honesty in research. Professor Zaidi, Shabi Zaidi had talked on honesty in research. That was the first lecture we had in November, if you all remember. And he gave a very good talk going into the details. And I'm not going into too much about honesty in research, but after you have done the research, you have to write it. And that is the main theme of my talk today. What are the ethical responsibilities of researchers, and then writing the research, the authors, we'll talk about that. What is research integrity and what is responsible conduct of research? These are two very, very important topics. So honesty in research or research integrity, and why research has to be written honestly. This is the theme of today's discussion. Now, let's first understand what is research. Research was first known in the French language in 1577. They pronounce it recherche, and it means to go about seeking. It is actually a quest to get to know something new. And everybody is not a good researcher, is not a researcher, I should say. You must have a very inquisitive mind. You must have seen some children, some young little children, they are very, very inquisitive, and they open up and break up all their toys. They make good researchers when they grow up. And the research deals with first knowing what is existing about the subject, and then you have to add something new to it. Now, what are the advantages of research? There are many problems which are solved. There were times, long time ago, when there was no food, there was famine, people were dying. That has no more to be seen now, usually no more. Then there's definitely been a reduction in maternal and infant mortality. That was again due to research. People could find out and find means of reducing them. Many diseases which were at one time thought to be incurable. For instance, we have insulin, which was researched and found in 1921 by Banting and Best, and that has saved the lives of millions of diabetics all over the world. Similarly, in 1928, penicillin was discovered by Alexander Fleming, and that was a lifesaver for many, many infectious diseases. Now, the new technology today, what we are doing now, it was not possible some years back that we could sit in different countries or different cities and talk to one another like this. We have computers, we have mobile phones, we have cars, aeroplanes, and now, of course, robots. They're doing robotic surgery. The surgeon is sitting in one country and the patient is in another country. This is all the result of research. Now, but there are certain requirements, just like for any other act, you have to have certain requirements. And the basic requirement is for a researcher to have a sense of responsibility. Right from the time that you conceive the idea to conducting the research, achieving the results, and then finally writing it. Now, just remember that whatever research you do, it is absolutely obligatory to write it down. Why? Because you are getting new results and you want the other people, your other scientists to know about it. There's nothing to hide. You have to contribute to the pool of the existing knowledge. Then you have to provide information to other researchers so that they can interpret their results, comparing them with your results. So it is actually an obligation on the researcher. I say that just as praying to God is an obligation, so writing the research, if somebody has done the research, is an obligation. But there are certain principles of conducting good research. Honesty. You have to be honest to yourself. You have to be honest to others. Integrity. You have to fulfill all the legal and ethical requirements. Cooperation, that means you exchange your ideas. You don't have to hide anything or conceal anything. Then you have to be accountable for whatever you're doing. You have to be accountable for that. Professionalism. You should know how to do the research. You should have sufficient skills. If you do not have them, you have to learn them before you start doing the research. And lastly, but not the least, is safety of everybody involved in the research, the researchers and the patients or the subjects who are undergoing the research. So there are actually two basic requirements. One is called RCR, Responsible Conduct of Research, which means you must conduct the research with professional responsibility. And then is research integrity. That means you must adhere to the high moral principles and professional standards. So you must have a good knowledge, you must have sufficient experience. If you do not have it, you have to work with somebody and learn about it. Now, how did all these factors come into practice? This is a very interesting but sad story, I should say. I'm sure all of you have heard about the war crimes during the Second World War, especially in Germany by the Nazis, and you must have heard about the famous Holocaust, where nearly 6 million Jews were killed. It was horrific, absolutely. If you read it, you really shudder. And these were the war crimes after the Second World War came to an end. And in November 1945, in Nuremberg, this is a city in Germany, they did a trial on 22 leading German physicians who had taken part in criminal research on prisoners. It took a year for the verdict to be announced in October 1946. And out of these 22 physicians, 19 were convicted. And out of these 19, 12 were sentenced to death. 3 were acquitted. I don't have the time to describe these criminal researches which were done, but if you read them, you really, it's unbelievable. Now, the Nuremberg trial ended in the Nuremberg Code. There are 10 conditions in the Nuremberg Code, from which 3 are very important. I'll just tell you 3. Voluntary informed consent of subjects or absence of coercion. That means whoever is going to be inducted in the research, they should know everything about it, and they should consent to take part in the research voluntarily. There should be no forceful or no coercion. Secondly, the research has to be scientifically valid. Now, this is again very important, and you cannot do something with kind of research which is going to
Please mute your
third is beneficence towards the experiments of participants. Whoever is taking part in the experiments or the research, they must get some beneficence out of it. Now, in 1946, the Nuremberg Code was accepted by the human rights as a declaration, but it was not implemented. Now, just imagine from 46 to 53. In 1953, it was implemented by the United States federal policy for protection of human subjects, especially the adult healthy volunteers. And this provided a mechanism for prospective review of research by individuals, and this led to the formation of the Institutional Review Board. I'll just tell you in very simple words that this was formed, the IRB as it is called, and it had to look at all the researches prospectively. Before the research could be done, they had to look at it whether it was valid or not. So what is the IRB and what is its role? Briefly, all of us must know about it because there are many institutions, especially in our country, in Pakistan, who do not have an IRB. Now, every institution having research facilities. Now, all the medical universities and colleges, they have to do research as has been laid down by the Higher Education Commission and the Pakistan Medical and Dental Council, and therefore everyone must have an IRB. The IRB must have a minimum of 5 experienced members. 5 is minimum, there should be more. There should be a gender balance. Then there should be at least one person from the legal side. and there should be one clergy. I mean, these are the rules. I don't know how many have it, how many of the universities in our country have it. Now, every research protocol by the researcher has to be submitted, has to be inspected by these people, and then you get a certificate, or if they want some changes to be done, that is advised. Otherwise, you get a certificate that yes, approval that you can conduct the research. There are terms and conditions on that. I won't go into that detail, but it has to be an approval letter. And this certificate, when you're submitting your article to any journal for publication, this certificate has to be attached to that. Now, lately, what has been started since the year, it's not lately, since the year 2000, that all the members of the IRB, they should be city certified. This is the Collaborative Institutional Training Initiative. This is a program. It's an online program. Of course, you have to pay for it, and it is meant to train the needs of colleges and universities, healthcare institutions, technologies, and government agencies all. And ideally, all the members of the IRB, they should undergo this training so that they are able to judge all the research protocols which are being submitted to the IRB. And all the staff and students who are conducting the research, they should they will get the benefit. The role of the IRB is that they have to review the protocols because they want to ensure the welfare of the subjects who are being involved in the research, and they have to assure that appropriate steps are taken to protect the rights and welfare of the human beings participating in the subject. It may be patients, it may be subjects, and particularly the vulnerable group. Now, I'm sure you'll understand what is the vulnerable group. This is the vulnerable group. People who cannot decide for themselves, prisoners, women. Them, in our country, especially women, they cannot even decide that they want to have more children or they want to stop having more children. Children, they don't understand, so they can't decide for themselves. The mentally incapacitated people, refugees, the poor people, the very elderly people, and addicts. This is the vulnerable group, and they do not have the freedom to decide. So it is very important that because normally we have to take informed consent, we have to keep everything confidential. We cannot exploit. So this is the role of the members of the Institutional Review Board of every institution where research is being conducted. Now, there are certain researches which are exempt from the IRB. For example, you're making some curriculum for the universities or the medical colleges. You are doing some research on data which is already existing and publicly available. For instance, you want to know the population of Pakistan, which is already available, and you want to do some research on that. You do not need an approval of the IRB. And any study for the benefit of the public, for example, on food taste, or consumer acceptance, you don't need that. But it is better that you apply to the IRB and you get an exemption letter from them. And then case reports. If you're reporting a certain case, you don't need an approval from the IRB, but it has to be a letter given, a permission letter given by the head of the department. Now, I would like to make another, something very important, this explanation. There is an institution called the BASR, Board of Advanced Studies and Research. This is something very different to the IRB. And the task of this board is to develop policy procedures. And they give the approval for degree courses for bachelor levels, for master's levels, for MPhil, PhD, and other professional degrees. Now, BSR only assesses and approves the relevance and appropriateness of the curriculum. They cannot provide an approval for research. So if somebody is doing a PhD and they get an approval from the BSR, fine, that's very good. But if they want to do some research, they want to have some articles out of their thesis, they have to initially then take the IRB approval also. So you need two approvals, the BSR for doing your PhD and the IRB for doing research on, say, subjects or patients and wanting to get it published. Now, this is important because at times in our office, in the journal office, we get articles with the BSR, approval of the BSR. There is no IRB, and we have to return that back to them. Now, because the time has passed, they cannot get a retrospective approval. So they have problems then. So please remember there are two different offices, BSR and the IRB. So when research is done, it has to be written. This is obligatory. Now, and the writing of the research has to be ethical. So what is ethical writing? It should be original. You should, whatever you have found, whatever are your results, that has to be returned. Don't tamper the results. No plagiarism, no falsification, no duplicate submission to two journals simultaneously, appropriate authorship, no conflict of interest, and acknowledgements where necessary. We'll take one by one quickly so that you understand what is wrong, what is right. Ethics has to be observed because if you do not observe it, it is misconduct. It will be classed as deception, dishonesty, negligence, which is definitely not acceptable. And misconduct, if it is revealed, can have serious implications. Your article can be retracted. The authors can be debarred or blacklisted. The head of the institution will be informed. The medical council will be informed. There can be a barrier to promotion because of that, and of course, a loss of reputation. So we have to preserve the academic integrity, especially the seniors, because we have to teach these values, that is knowledge, truth, respect, scholarship, and acting with honesty. These principles have to be passed on to our juniors also. Now, there are certain regulatory bodies which have formed many rules and regulations. Out of these, the most famous and most important ones are COPE, Committee on Publication Ethics. This is UK-based. Then we have the ICMJE, or the International Committee for Medical Journal Editors, which was formed in 1978. The World Association of Medical Editors, and the European Association of Science Editors. These are some of them, all, not all, there are many more, but these are the very important ones. COPE was established in 1997 by a small group of medical journal editors, and UK is London-based. Now they have 13,500 members from 97 countries. And they have published international standards for editors and authors. There are 27 flow charts in 15 languages. They have translated them into Chinese and Japanese and all other languages. And how to handle, this is more for editors, but also for authors, how to handle the common ethical problems. And then there are COPE guidelines for retraction of articles and so on. So sometimes the question comes to the mind that why do people want to do something wrong? Why do the authors want to select the unethical path? And the reason is very clear, because very few people genuinely like to write. In a way, which is right, because it is a gift. Some people can write very well, others have to really make efforts. But there's nothing one cannot achieve by hard work. Most people, they like what writing does for them. And what is that? They get a degree, they get a promotion, or some people like to have a large number of publications in their CVs. This is also called the Hollywood syndrome. And some people say, well, if we sit to write, it gives us headaches and backaches and makes a person erratic. So they want to take a shortcut. Again, there's a pressure to publish, especially in our country. If you have to be promoted, you're working in an institution, you have to have a certain number of articles before you can be promoted from to the professor or the associate professor. So there's a pressure. Secondly, some people, they are ignorant of the rules. Now, this is not excusable, but it is there. Others have no time to invest, or they are reluctant to invest the time in writing. And unfortunately, this is true, but sometimes the supervisors and mentors are dishonest, and this is what they teach their juniors and their students. What are the common problems encountered? I'm sure all of you know, so we'll go through it fast. We'll take one by one. Altogether, all of these together, they are called fraud. Now, plagiarism. Plagiarism it came from the Latin word plagiarius, which means a kidnapper. So, and this is the definition given in the dictionary: the action of using or copying someone else's ideas or work and pretending that you thought of it and created it yourself. So it's stealing, actually. There are many types of plagiarisms. Again, we'll take this one by one. Word for word, you just pick up an entire paragraph from another article, you put it in your article, and you do not reference it. So the reader is going to think this is your writing. This is stealing. You take a graph from another article and you insert it in your article as though it's your own. And we know that when we are writing an article, the introduction and discussion has to be written. In introduction, you're introducing the topic, and in discussion, you're discussing whatever you've done. So what you do is that you can take a large amount from another article, similar article, and write it down in yours, and then you don't put a reference. So the reader is going to think that this belongs to you. Nowadays, we have many softwares which can catch all this, but people do it. Even now, people are doing it. Mosaic or patch plagiarism, that means you take some words, some paragraphs, some phrases from another, and you put some of your own, and you mix a whole, it becomes a hot pot, and you do not give credit to the other author. And when you mix up everything together, it becomes a total confusion. Paraphrasing, when you're writing the introduction, you have to provide a brief and concise review about the topic, about the studies. So you have to take it from another article or from a number of articles, and then you take this and you summarize this together. Now, if you do not give the reference and you write it as though you have done it yourself, this is plagiarism. Ideas and speech, again, ideas are usually stolen by reviewers who read the article, they like the idea, and they can steal that idea. This is again wrong. Self-plagiarism, if you've already written an article and then you're writing another article and you take the text from there and you do not reference to the published article, this is self-plagiarism. Salami slicing, this is dividing. You are doing a research, and after some time you get some initial results. And what you do is to increase the number of publications, you can make an article out of it and publish it. And then when you finish your research, you get the full results, then you publish it as a second article. So you get 2 articles out of 1 research. This is called salami slicing. You divide it into 2. This is not right, because it's a burden on editors, on the peer reviewers, and the readers. Cyber plagiarism is very easy because I think now everybody owns a computer or a laptop, and you can very easily go into the net. You get whatever information you want. You just copy paste it and put it in your article. Data fabrication. Now, this is a little difficult, but some people, they can do it, that they completely make up the data. Well, it is called desktop research. You just sit on your desk and you make up all the research on that. It's totally misleading. And it is less prevalent because doing this is not easy for everyone. You really have to have a very intelligent mind and a wrong type of intelligent mind. But any amount of this is unacceptable. Some of you must be remembering the case of the British Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology, where there was one of the doctors in the hospital. He made up a whole story and put it as a case report about a woman who became pregnant, and it was an ectopic, and he removed everything on the desk. He removed the ectopic pregnancy, put it in the uterus, and it went on to full term, and the woman had a normal baby. And this was all wrong. Eventually, he was caught, and his license was cancelled. Fabrication. This is false publishing, false research, or you're just inventing the cases. And this is again another case of this Dr. Haruko Obokata of Japan. She was working on stem cells, and she had 2 or 3 very good articles in Nature. Nature is the leading journal. And then the last article, she did a lot of falsifications. She made up a lot of wrong data in that. And her mentor or her supervisor, the professor, he had trusted her so much that he did not even inquire much, and the article was published. And eventually it was caught. And of course, the article was withdrawn, it was retracted, and the girl, she was punished for that. But it was very sad that the mentor in Japan, I think that's their culture, that he committed suicide. Falsification of data, that means that you have some data, you have some results, and because you don't like it, you want to make it better, so you just change the data. Now, this can be done in your data, in your figures, or it can also be done in images. I'll just show you the image. It's very easy to do image manipulation if you're good with the computer, not so hopeless as I am, but you can change pictures and all that, Photoshop as they call it, and you can combine cropping, correcting, and blending photographs. You see this. This is a histopathology slide. Now, figure A is the original one, which is showing that they were looking out for squamous intraepithelial carcinoma. And when they saw the figure A on the left-hand side, it was negative. But they wanted the results showing that there were positive cases. So this is what they did. If you see on the left, this is the manipulated one with red, green, blue colors. They increased that. And with that, you could see that this is showing that it is malignant. Because they wanted this result, so they manipulated this. This is again unethical. This is a joke, but it's there. I mean, you put the stem cells or whatever you do, and maybe you can make a new species. The head is that of a bull and the body is that of a frog. Now, duplicate or redundant publication. This is another act which we encounter quite frequently. Duplicate publication means that the same data with identical text. You do one research, you first write it down, and then what you do is that you make some minor changes. Maybe you can change You can put in some new authors, or you can change the order of the authors, and you can change one or two words in the title, a little bit in the abstract, and this becomes two articles. One you send to journal A and the other you send to journal B.
Dr. Mubashir, some students are, scholars are complaining that there is a blackout and they are not looking the slides. What is the wrong with it? Dr. Mubashir, what is the problem in IT or something else? Because they are saying that, no, it is, okay, it is fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Shall
Madam,
we carry on? Dr.
Madam,
Blazim, okay? Okay, then duplicate submission for publication. That means you write an article and you send one to JPMA and you send one to another journal. So most journals don't accept. This is not right actually, it's unethical. You can't send it to two journals. And what normally, I mean, at least in our journal, there is a form with the undertaking that you have not submitted the article to any other journal. You won't believe it, that quite a few people, they do submit it and they even sign the form. Now, what would you call this? Unethical. Redundant publication, there's a major overlap, substantial overlap of data, or which is already published either in print or in electronic. There may be a little difference, a little bit of data has been added, or a little difference in the analysis, but on the whole, it is the same research. So this is again unethical. Conflict of interest. This again is quite a bit of it is seen in our country. When judgment of an article could be influenced due to personal relationships. I mean, my nephew sends in an article to JPMA, and just because he's my nephew and the article is not good and I take it in. So that is the personal relationship. I'm grateful to God. I've sent back many articles. Even, I'm sorry, Dr. Mulazim, I think I sent back one of yours also. Then people get honoraria, financial relationships, the industry. I think all of you know a lot about the industry, with due respect to the industry. You know, they pay money to get articles published, which is sort of praising their product. Then, of course, there's an academic competition. You want to get promoted, you want to become a professor, you want to become the vice chancellor, and things like that. If there is a conflict of interest, it should be acknowledged. For instance, if the head of the department is also an author, it should be acknowledged. So a conflict of interest actually means that when the individual has interest in the outcome of the research, and the research actually then becomes unscientific and unethical. This is another very important aspect, appropriate authorship. Now, everybody cannot become an author in a research. There should be substantial intellectual contribution. It should be based on each author's contribution to the product. I mean, you can't become an author just because you're a friend, or because you're a colleague, you want to help out, or because it's a relative. You can't become an author. People who are helping out by entering the data, or collecting the data, or getting articles, finding out similar articles from the library, getting them photocopied, they are not authors. The ICMJE has certain rules, and these are followed by most good journals, leading journals. And as you can see, there are 4 rules. There are actually 3 rules, and all the 3 have an and. It's a big and. You can see that here. Substantial contribution to the conception, design of the work or the acquisition, analysis, interpretation of data, and drafting the work, revising it, final approval of the version to be published. Now, these are the three things which you have to practically do. But the most important is the fourth point, which is that each and every author has to agree to be accountable of all aspects of the work which has been done and written down. Every author has to fulfill all these requirements. It's a big responsibility, which people usually do not understand. There are certain people who have to be acknowledged. I think it's very nice. You have to say thank you to people who have helped you. Colleagues who helped in designing the study, you take help. Physicians who referred cases from their wards or from their clinics. Any laboratory assistants, you got tests done. You asked your statistician to help out with the statistical tests. I mean, everybody doesn't know statistics. I don't know statistics. So it was a pleasure listening to the statistics lecture. Any secretarial help. And then before you send your article to the journal, you can ask one of your colleagues who's more experienced to go through your article and give suggestions. Any source of funding which you have, that you have to declare that. People get funds from HEC or other organizations. So these are the people who have to be thanked. They have to be acknowledged. Now, you all must have heard the term ghost authors. These people, they charge money. They are freelance writers. Their language is good. They know the art of writing. So they write the article for you. They do not get any credit because you are not going to reveal their names and you don't even acknowledge them. So these are ghost authors. Most of them, they charge. Now, is ghost writing ethical? This is a very controversial question. Because if you remember in the last lecture, Dr. Qayyumi had discussed, one of the participants said that English is not our language. So what are we going to do? So there is a big need of these ghostwriters actually. But especially very top personalities, they have no time to write. They may not have the expertise to write. Speech writers. Do you think your prime minister can write a speech? Somebody writes it for him. But they are not acknowledged. That's why they are called ghost authors. So what are we going to do about it? What is the right method? Usually they are used by the industry because they can pay them. There are other researchers who are not very comfortable with writing, so they use them, or people who are short of time. They're so busy, they have no time to write. The disadvantages of these paid writers, they are very good at writing, but they do not understand what experiments or what research has been done. So they cannot explain the content. And sometimes they can dilute the relevant facts. And finally, the opportunity to train your students and your PGs and your juniors, that is taken away, which is the responsibility of the seniors to pass on and teach our juniors. And if we ask somebody else to write the articles, how are the PGs or the juniors going to learn? The ghostwriter, I mean, you don't see the face, you don't see the name, you don't know who they are. There is a solution. A very good friend of mine, her name is Karen Shashok. She lives in Spain, in Granada, and she's running this company by the name of Author Aid. But what she demands is, there are many people from Pakistan also using her company. She takes in very limited, she has a whole team. She takes in people. She says, you write the whole article and you send it to me. And then she sort of corrects it. She makes it presentable. She doesn't charge anything. It's all free of cost. And secondly, she's been very good. She goes to Iran. She's been to Tehran and other places where she teaches the students how to write. She doesn't charge a penny. She just tells them that you give me a place to stay and give me some food to eat, and she teaches the students how to write. Now, there's another aspect which is called gift authorship. In other words, that is unethical bribery, where you include an author who has not participated in the research. So you're just gifting it. Now, why should you do it? People, they use the names of senior researchers. You take the name of your professor, and maybe the journal will sort of, due to that, get impressed and take the article. Or sometimes the senior researcher wishes to take credit from a junior member. We've had this. The seniors who are supposed to be helping out, they're supposed to be the supervisors, they want to be the first authors. And usually the gift authors, I mean, they know accountability, they know nothing about the research, so they are not accountable. And this is wrong and just unethical. In some institutions, it is common for heads of the departments to be listed as authors, although I don't know why, but they have it as a rule. It's taken as a rule. Sometimes the laboratory heads want to be included because they have done some laboratory tests, so they want to be included as authors. There have been occasions, I mean, I have experienced that in our journal, that there was the name of the vice chancellor of a university who was the author. This is the gift authorship. And the supervisors, who should normally have the last position in the authors list, they want to be the first position, in the first position. This is gift authorship. So what happens if you're going to do something wrong? Whatever wrong you do, it can harm the research community, because first of all, if the journal who publishes, people will lose trust in that journal. They will lose trust in the research which is being done. Many people's careers have been damaged if they are caught. And then they have the innocent collaborators and colleagues, the co-authors, they suffer equally. The institution's reputation is damaged. And there's corruption of evidence base. And it's a total waste of time, effort, and funds. Just give you a recent example. Some of you may have known about it, read about it. This is a journal by the name of Curious. It is a journal of medical sciences. It is based in USA, San Francisco. It's a peer-reviewed journal, open access, indexed with PubMed Central. Now, they detected some scientific misconduct and they placed it on their website. They call that the wall of shame. This is what was written on the wall of shame, that they had articles with plagiarism, data and image theft, falsification, peer review fraud, payment fraud. This is exactly what was written on the wall of shame. And this is the wall of shame. And this they put up on their website. And this was put up on the 12th of April, 2022. It's not even a year now. And very sadly, these are the articles. The total articles retracted were 31 in number. Out of these, 23 were Pakistani authors. 8 were from Nepal, India, Cape Town, and USA. Out of the 23 Pakistani authors, there were 15 articles of one author who was the leader. And the reasons were data theft, fraudulent IRB approval. That person had charged the co-authors for authorship despite few or no contributions. And total 15 articles of one author from our country. It was such a shame, really. All these articles have been retracted. So in conclusion, I can just say that good research and research integrity is necessary for high quality research, and high quality reporting is required. So it is all new research and interpretation and publication is under the umbrella of honesty. So it all boils down. You start with honesty. The idea has to be honest. You have to conduct the research very honestly. You have to write honestly, and then you get it published honestly. So you begin with honesty, you start with honesty, and you end with honesty. And we know that knowledge is wealth which cannot be stolen. All your money can be stolen, but nobody can steal your knowledge. I'm really thankful to all of you for joining us, joining here. Any questions, I'll be glad to answer. And this is hopefully that you take back something from here, or if you have had any misconceptions or any misunderstandings about research ethics, that has been cleared. Thank you very much. Some people first. We are running this course in the University of Health Sciences, Lahore. It is the PAME, the Pakistan Association of Medical Editors, and at least one or two of your candidates who are in the journal, who are working for the journal, they should go and attend the course, because this is nothing which you can just pick up some book and read and start a journal. You have to have practical experience also. So they will have to join the course there. Of course, reading on their own is very important. But this is what we started about. We've had 4 batches by now, and I think they're doing good work. So why don't you think about that? Or else you'll have to send some of your candidates, some of your board members who are the active board members, to go and sort of do an internship with some journal. And then they have to invest in that.
Dr. Fatma is Dr. Shabi Zaidi. Can I compliment you on your lecture? It was fantastic. And towards the end of this course on research ethics, exactly what we needed. I have to make 2 comments. One is on plagiarism. There was a famous story here in the UK when a gentleman who was a very renowned speaker on television almost on a daily basis, he was caught because what he'd done was that in a PhD thesis, he had copy-pasted from a very illustrious publication some 50 years back. So he was caught and he was thrown out not only from the TV, but also from his academic position as a professor in a very, very illustrious, famous college. That's one. So it's a warning that no plagiarism, not even paraphrasing if you can avoid it. I mean, paraphrasing is acceptable as long as it does not create confusion and chaos. You must give the reference. That's first. So it was very useful talk. The second thing is that this question of writing articles, I feel that we need to develop this phenomena. This is a very common. I asked this question of Ashraf Qayyumi also, that English being a foreign language to all of us, it's a big problem in Iran also, where we are very deeply concentrating on developing education programs. They have fantastic material, but not everybody can speak fluently English nor write. Same as in Iraq and Pakistan, various countries. Is there a possibility, and I was thinking, I spoke to Arshad also, that Journal of Medics International has a facility, perhaps we can join hands somehow, and your offices could be used, like your colleague in Spain. If I could get connected with her, maybe you can invite her and get these articles which are lying with us for some time for correction, improvement of quality of language, diction, spelling, and what have you. So may I request you to connect me to the person, the lady that you mentioned in Spain? If necessary, I'll go over and see her. And that would be a great help for a lot of speakers and scholars. Thank you.
I'll send you her email. And she's done a lot of work and she's helped a lot in Iran. She's been going there very regularly. So,
Professor Dr. Fatma and Professor Mulazim Hassan Bukhari, can I ask one question? Really, it was a very nice lecture and very nice presentation. And I will encourage the scholars to ask the question from Dr. Fatema Jawad. Dr. Fatema Jawad, what is the difference between copying and plagiarism? Because there is somewhat limitation in the writing any dissertation that the copying is allowed up to 19%, while in some of the journals they allow the copying is up to 5 to 10%. So can I ask what is the difference between copying and plagiarism? Are both are same thing?
No, both are the same thing, and it's every journal has its policy that how much do they allow. And secondly, sometimes you have to take some parts word to word because you can't change it. I mean, for instance, if somebody has said something, but then you have to reference it. So when we
Right.
put it into the software where it detects the plagiarism, then it gives you the portion, which portion has been plagiarized. You get that on your computer. And then you can see that if it is something said by, I mean, Dr. Mulazim Bukhari has made a statement. You can't change the statement, but then you have to put on it that this was said by Dr. Bukhari.
Okay, Dr. Fatma, one the most important question that the people ask from me is that the most of the thing that when we write the introduction, this introduction is not from me and from anything. They have to take the ideas of someone else. And even when you are going to put the material methods, you have to adopt a copy of some things, because I think the research is a journey. It is not a one day matter. It is a journey. It is the ideas are coming from the past and present, and they will go up to the. So what you will advise the people to limit their copying or something else when they are writing the introduction, or they are writing the material method?
Yes, you can take it, but then you have to acknowledge it. You have to put the reference. People don't do that.
No, even that they give the references. Even then, the system says that there is a copying up to this and this thing. Even then.
You can change a few words, but if you put the reference,
Okay.
then it is not. I mean, it is not a crime. But if you do not put the reference, that means it is your own statement, your own work. That is a crime.
The good message from you is that even you are raising, you are paraphrasing, you have
Yes,
to give the citation. You have to acknowledge anyone.
definitely, definitely.
Another question is that some of the people who have read the manuscript, but they do not have some actual part in this. Can they be included in author or in encouragement and acknowledgement?
Acknowledgement. How can you include a person who has just read the manuscript and just help you out? How can he become an author when that person has not participated in the research? You
Definitely.
can acknowledge them. You can say, you can put 10 times thank you very much, but do
Yeah,
not make
definitely.
them as authors.
Okay, one of
Be not pertinent to this your presentation, but I have always a question in my mind. What is the difference between bibliography and citation?
Mm.
It's the same thing. References, bibliography, citation, it all means the same. You know,
Though
English is a very different language, and you really have to understand these things, but it's not our language. We know that.
Actually, madam, when I did the literature search, they are showing the same words but with different sentences. So I'm always confused. That's why I'm asking this question, because they are giving a big list of differences between these two. But to be honest, the meaning remains the same.
Yeah, you talk about references, and I think that is the easiest way.
Thank you so much, madam.
Okay, Dr. Shamshad Loni. Dr. Shamshad Loni, you want to ask the question?
Assalamu alaikum. Ma'am, I'm Dr. Shamshad here. I have one question. You have mentioned that elderly people also are not allowed for the consent. They directly. So, what is the age criteria we have to take this age?
Elderly people does not mean that all elderly people or there's some retirement age or so. You know, most of the elderly people, you must be experiencing that in your own homes with your grandfather or grandmother. Some, as a person grows old, the mind becomes slow. So sometimes they are unable to decide. I mean,
Oh,
Oh,
they won't be able to decide that soon or that fast, or maybe they become uncertain about things when you talk to them. You can talk, you must talk to them, you can talk to them, but sometimes they are unable to decide. So then you have to take help from the relatives or maybe the immediate relatives. So, or sometimes
okay.
the elderlies are suffering from some mental disorder, dementia or so.
Yeah, yeah. Ma'am, another one question is when we are writing the refer, you have mentioned that we have to refer or we have to give the references. But when we want to do the sample size, we are using the softwares nowadays in
Yes.
from online. Like we have the software, array of software is there. So
Mhm.
shall we write the reference for this? We have taken from the web, from the internet or something, or just leave like that?
No, no, you have to reference it. If you're using the, for instance, you're using the World WHO sample size calculator, you have to give the reference. The G power, you have to give the reference. Whatever you have used, you have to give the reference.
The group of the people who wants to do a research, yeah, complete his paper for the promotion. 5 friends sits down and said that each has to write one paper and give the 5 names. Where is it ethical or it is not ethical?
No, I didn't understand. Is it going to be five researches, 5 articles?
Yeah, 5 articles, 5 researcher, one for each, but writing the name of 5 friends.
No, I mean, if you're doing 5 different researches and all the 5 are involved in that, of course they can write their names. It's not one research which is going to be divided into five times. It's not that. I mean, you have to do 5 different researches and all those 5 can do it. They can have their names in it. But
Okay.
five different researches.
okay, madam. One chat is there. A bibliography is a list of sources that have been used in the research and preparation of a work,
Mm.
typically listed at the end of the work. A reference list, on the other hand, is a list of sources that have been specifically cited within the body of the work and are
Yes.
typically listed at the end of each chapter or at end of the work.
Mm.
In other words, a bibliography includes all sources used in research, while a reference list includes only the sources cited in the text.
Yes.
Okay,
But
now,
they
now
are all
over to you, Professor Shabi Zaidi, to conclude today's session.
Well, it's an honor, as always. Listening to Dr. Fatema Jawad is as if you're listening to somebody literally from the skies.
No,
It's a divine
please,
language.
Dr. Zaidi, please.
It's a divine language, divine format, divine thoughts, and the presentation is always superb. I have enjoyed so much over the years and learned every word, everything that you say is recorded in my memory. It's almost like granite fixed into my brain.